Renate, I'm so happy that we made it.
Me too, finally.
You are a very busy mom. You are from Austria. You lived a long time in Switzerland. You worked for Glencore, which is a big commodity company, and you were you were totally immersed in this corporate job, right?
Of course, many years, yeah.
And then everything changed when you became pregnant and you found that with the daughter it might be not the ideal environment anymore.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit
Not
about
for everyone, like everyone's their own decision, you know, but for me personally, it didn't
you wanted to
work much
spend more time with your daughter.
Yeah, of course.
And that also brought you to Portugal.
That brought me to Portugal.
Yeah.
We have some extended family relations here. So I'm from Austria. Met my husband in the UK years ago. He's from Brazil with Portuguese roots, and that's why we just wanted a different life after 14 years in Switzerland.
Yeah.
So we came here 1 year ago. I'm on a very big career shift because I was, I think, 14 years compliance officer working with international sanctions laws, anti-corruption, writing ethic reports, transparency reports, everything a little bit. And when you become a parent, especially as a mom, everything changes. You already get very quite health conscious. In pregnancy, where you take you need to take different supplements, you need to do this, and then for me, my child has neurodermitis, atopic eczema, and it's quite a big journey because it's a lot of research which you're spending on the right nutrition. Is it we need to cut out gluten? Do we need to do this? Since quite early on, I started working with the Germany Neurodermitis Verein Club, and we tried a lot, you know, from different creams you put on, or nutrition, gut microbiome work, everything. It back then hasn't led me to the water yet, but one touch point was definitely in pregnancy already, when I used to go to Paramed. That's a very big holistic center in Switzerland. And there, somehow they gave Lauretania water. Lauretana. Yeah. But in plastic bottles at the therapy treatments. And we are very international, so we travel a lot. I have a lot of friends around the globe. We traveled in Australia. And with my daughter as well, some of our really best friends live there, and her children go into a school where she said some of the girls already start menstruating with 9 years old. Yes. And that was the first time it clicked. I was like, whoa, I try to avoid that because with 9 years, so you're still a child, so why is there so much hormonal changes?
Yes.
I've seen there was a lot of bottled water in Australia. Of course, it can be our nutrition, what we put in, chemicals, pesticides, it's all changing a lot.
It is, absolutely, yeah. But the water has the biggest impact because we are 70% water. Yeah. And when you are drinking water of plastic bottles, you have endocrine disruptors in this plastic that dilutes into the water. Endocrine disruptors are smallest substances that connect to our hormone receptors. And they can totally mess up our hormonal system. And you only need smallest doses of it in order to have this effect. So both this combined with the fact that since 60, 70 years, women are taking the pill, we have hormone replacement treatment stuff and everything that goes into the water system, and this is not taken out in the sewage plants. It's not possible to do it on a way that, that would be in any kind economical. And when you have the fact that even in Switzerland, in the highest mountain lakes, the fish start to change their gender. Because it's also in the air, so it's everywhere. At least let's take us control of our water that we drink. Because here we have the biggest impact, and here is something we can do actually. We cannot control all our environment, but with the water safety, we are really at a point where we say we can make 99.9% healthy water, and we don't have to rely on water companies starting to bring out regulations that are decades behind the science that says already substances are toxic, we should not ingest them at all.
Yeah, I mean, as a young mom and all of my friend circle, you know, like trying to conceive or family planning, I have own experiences, or from extended friends, whoever, you know. I feel there's more infertility issues than maybe it was years ago.
Absolutely, yeah. It's on a rise and in a dramatic way.
I can see it when we travel to Brazil, in Sao Paulo, how many infertility clinics there are popping up. I just saw that in December. It really shocked me. Then we were just in Sri Lanka in March, and I was traveling there, talked with a gynecologist from India. Her whole family are doctors, and the husband is a urologist, and they own a hospital. And she said, in India, the infertility is skyrocketing. She said it's unbelievable, crazy. Not saying it's just the water, it's obviously a holistic lifestyle, but it can be a very big factor, and also the pollution, the plastic, the microplastic, how much is in there. I've been trying to go much more non-toxin free since years now, when we traveled through Indonesia and seeing all the rubbish washed up on all the shores in Lombok and Yogyakarta and everywhere. That's why it's a hard topic of mine. And even in Sri Lanka, after I talked with this lady, I think one of the last evenings I was writing content, because I want to get a voice to talk about those things. Even I was thinking, do I need a TikTok account or a social media, Instagram, to talk more about it, to share my knowledge? Because when I was in corporate, I didn't even have time to look into this. I was just busy. Now I work more with social media. I follow a lot of health accounts, and people talk also about water health, or having some kind of installation at home, filtration system or osmosis. I didn't know that there's so many differences in the quality of it, which I think you know obviously much more about it.
Well, we have tested, what, about 30 waters?
Yes, that's true as well, yeah.
We tested so many waters in a surrounding of, I think, around 50 kilometers around Lisbon.
For sure.
And after the testing, we didn't want to drink any of them.
That was very revealing.
And
even the restaurant where I held that presentation was shocked what they saw on the table. They actually asked us to come back for another talk about it.
We'll do that,
Yeah, for sure. And last year, in Switzerland, it never occurred to me so much, right, that I need to change something.
Yes.
I heard something last year on the playground of Zug, where I live, that they closed a playground because of PFAS,
Eternity chemicals.
That they need to close some playgrounds because it's not safe for our children to play there. But definitely in Portugal, when I arrived, I knew I cannot drink the water. When we were renting that flat for almost a year, because it was just gross. And then we had to buy plastic water for almost a year. Again, I didn't want to. But at least I can share some of that knowledge, you know, which has led me here.
Yes, and I think I have to protect the medical group, because even I, as a midwife, 10 years ago, I would have told you, bottled water is fine. Because I simply didn't have the knowledge. It's not taught in medical schools, it's not taught in midwifery schools. And I think we as maybe women have to share this more and more, how really important water is for the health of our children, grandchildren, and every generation that comes, because we tend to accept more and more just over the decades what is happening. And I'm sure if you would give the water that we drink today to somebody 100 years ago, they would just think, what is this? But this is not water anymore. Because we have so many man-made substances that are diluting in the water, and the problem is you cannot detect them with your senses. You can't smell them, you can't taste them. But these are the ones that are really hijacking our body. And who knows where all these new illnesses come from that are developing, spreading out of the ground. Like how many kids have allergies today? They were non-existent 50 years ago.
And it's hard because I talk from experience.
Yes.
You suffer a lot. I mean, as a sleepless nights all the time. I keep saying I can't even imagine working a 40-hour corporate job right now because it would not be fair to my child who cannot sleep in the night and then push off into a system. It does not work. And nutrition and health and home cooking is really a lot of work if you care, if you need to, because otherwise you have a big health problem and it gets more chronic. It can then go on asthma, more allergies, because you have chronic inflammations inside of you. And like school medicine, hats off to what they can achieve.
Yeah.
But you need to always try to look at root causes.
Yes.
And this year, I did some home tests actually with the water. It was so funny on plants. I was like, okay, let me just try, right? With celery, I tried, well, I drink it more now, but I give part of it into the normal tap water. The other one, so one just starts hanging, the other one keeps growing almost. So it's very interesting. And one other thing I caught upon, because I grew up on a little farm and we had more animals. Now it's very reduced, but a dog. Every time I notice when I'm at home, he loves or she loves drinking the water from the rainwater.
Yes.
More than inside. The dog would run outside to rather drink that water.
Yeah, it's interesting, huh? Yeah. Yeah, because this is water that runs through the process of nature and it has very little minerals in it, so it's easier available for the cells. And I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions that I'm hearing over and over again, that we need minerals in the water.
Okay.
And hardly anybody knows that the minerals in the water can be only absorbed by, depending on the mineral, 5 to 30%. So it is not really important for our nutrition to have it in the water. We need it from food, from supplements, and then have water that is really clean, so the capacity to transport the minerals that we get from somewhere else is really high. So we are a bit fighting. Because the bottled water industry, I think, has made a really good job to implement this into our brains. You know, this is why it's called mineral water, because minerals. I mean, you were drinking mineral water in your pregnancy because your gynecologist, or who said that?
Someone said because of the calcium. So I did my research, and there's one water in Jura in Switzerland.
Yes.
Because this has the highest calcium. But they had something in there which you had to be a bit careful. Was it iod or
could
something
be iod
else?
or fluor maybe?
Yeah, fluor.
Yeah.
Anyway, I ordered it. I couldn't drink it. I wanted to get vomit, but it's like, no, you need to get your calcium intake. I was like, whoa, but I cannot drink this water. And obviously, you pay quite a price for.
Yeah, that's on top of it. Yeah.
And did I mention that sample about when my daughter was born, that someone pushed me quite early on in order to top up with bottle feeds, and I cooked and boiled the water, how there was just this massive stain of chalk in there.
And this calcium residues right in
like crazy. So if you think about it, my body must have filtered out so much, which maybe can lead to arthrose, right? It's all the thing which goes
long-term
into joints.
Yes, it can. It definitely does go in that direction. It's never the only cause, but yes, because it has to go somewhere, and what we don't pee out ends up in our system.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, very. So that's why I just want to share some insights and share the knowledge. I was always a big knowledge sharer, and
and this is also why you looked at Ringana and the products that are really, toxic free, so that you don't put stuff on your body that is highly toxic.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you have that health issue, you need to be very conscious about what goes in, what goes on the skin. And, you just feel different as well. I feel it because I don't sleep much since years, but I still have all this energy level. I don't know how to do it, so I really swear on certain things. And I'm sure the water is definitely one of my health invests, so I don't know how to say.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say, how do you feel today after you made the decision and you know that you have safe water at home?
Oh, great. Yeah, I wouldn't go back. No, I wouldn't. It's, I don't know, it's worth it to have this discussion with your partner almost, right? Because of course you get I got original pushback, kind of, I don't know.
It was a bit, it was like, okay, this is the investment, but how do you sell this to your partner? That
of course. But I don't know. Difficult to say.
I think what shocks me sometimes is that people invest more time into researching what kind of car is good for them, or as mothers, what kind of pram should I buy, than looking at the water filter.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wouldn't have known about that, but you research exactly the pram and the side bed, and then the setting up the perfect nursery, which no baby ever needs.
That's true. You always end up.
Unfortunately, I was one of those COVID moms, right? So I didn't have this one-on-one exchange with moms in pregnancy, and you were just working, and you thought everyone talks about you need to have. I never set up a nursery, but I had certain things which I wouldn't even care about now, because when my child was 2 months old, we had to travel to Brazil for a family emergency, and over there, perfect, you don't need anything, you have a baby, all they need is you as a mom and nothing else, and I don't need the changing table and this, and
it's a big industry.
A sling, a carrier, best investment, that's all you need, and you but it had never occurred to me to look into the water that much, especially in Switzerland, because it's so under the radar.
And
but then I heard something that shocked me, because I think Zurich is one of those capitals in Europe where there's the most highest drug consumption.
Yes.
Like cocaine.
It lands in the water, it's not filtered out.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy.
And this is, I think, since I'm working as a water consultant, what I always find is that, in every country, well, nearly every country where you go, the governments say, our water is safe. We have the best water, especially Germany, Switzerland, Austria. And it is true that they have very, very good regulations. But the sewage plants, they cannot take out these substances that are so highly toxic because they are not equipped for it. And it wouldn't be economical to do it anyway. So why would you like to filter your water that runs down the toilet later on a high level? Why not do it in your household? And the differences between the filter systems that I have tested in the past 5 years, they are so big. So it's not enough I think it's very difficult to get all the information from the internet, because you will find that nearly every filter predicts that you will have, so much filtered out. When I'm testing the water, I must say, no, it's not true. I'm sorry. And this is why I'm only working with one brand that I think is highly ethical, that uses very, very high quality stainless steel material, so that there is no repollution through plastic again after filtration. And one of the biggest things is it's made in Germany. So we have a safety in terms of what kind of components are used, what are they made of. I can just hardly recommend to, you can find me or one of my colleagues nearly everywhere in your surroundings to find out, what is really important for a water filter and what does it do to protect the next generation.
Oh gosh, yes.
I mean, when infertility is rising now, what happens to our children and grandchildren? What will they grow up? Yes. And going through this treatment is both for the body and psychologically and emotionally so dreadful and so tiring.
For sure. Because all sicknesses, chronic sicknesses are on the rise, and eczemas, everyone has allergies. It wasn't that way before.
No, it was 50 years ago, maybe one child in the class had an allergy.
So it's really, really tough. And if you're a parent who is in this situation, I also just talked with another mom before, really powerful mom, again, business coach, done so much career transition. Amazing. 2 children, also going through a hardship with one kid who has an autoimmune disease. And again, this whole investment of your time in cooking every meal, or almost, or explaining, now you're at a children's birthday party, you should not have this cake because there is this, or there is chocolate, or there is that, because you have all those leaky gut syndromes and chronic inflammations. It's just hard. It's really hard. So if water is one thing, then I rather have this water at home than, I don't know, drinking tap water. Question number 1. So thank you for giving me this platform to talk.
It was lovely. I'm very happy that we did it. We needed a few weeks to find the time and date. So of course, I think it's so important to share it, because I think the change will come through us moms.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Thank you very much, Renate. I will share everything with you.